Hi, yes, Solopreneur Nation. This is an uncaffeinated, overhydrated, unshowered Bo Yoder coming to you live on the interwebs. So look, if you've got this thing, this vision for what the future should be and had the guts it takes to venture outside the matrix of normal, safe, boring mediocrity to make that something real, if you've ever been called a dreamer or crazy, obsessed, if you've been told it's time to be responsible and give up on your dreams, yet you know that what you're doing truly matters and it's your moral responsibility to make it happen, so that the world can move forward out of the darkness into the light that you're working so hard to make shine, then welcome. I'm Bo Yoder, your Solopreneur Survival Guide, here to help people just like us learn how best to survive your glorious yet hectic period of catastrophic success, so that your light sparkles bright in the darkness. Because you are not lazy, you are a frickin' genius who's doing exactly what you were born to do. You have amazing focus even though you don't know it, and amazing self-discipline even though you don't believe it. It's just hidden away, waiting for you to discover how to access it, and when you have the right structural tools, you can and must take this idea of yours as far and as fast as you can, because the world desperately needs you. Hey everybody, welcome. This is episode 2, and today I'm going to talk about a very core aspect of the solopreneur experience, which is self-discipline. And the basic premise here is that willpower is a finite resource, and self-discipline, white-knuckling your way through your life, just simply doesn't work. For all of those of you who are familiar with what's called the marshmallow test, you can look that up on online. It's essentially a psychological test where you give a child a plate with a marshmallow on it. And you tell that kid they can have this marshmallow right away, or they can have more marshmallows later, but they have to wait and sort of deny and delay that gratification in order to get a bigger prize into the future. It's such a simple little exercise, but yet you get so much clarity about the human condition in that process. People like to grab what they see. People are very ADD. They're very attention focused. We live in a world that's trying every second to grab your attention and drag it away from whatever you're doing to whatever they want you to focus on. That's one of the reasons, speaking of which, I got to get my 10-minute tirade up here. That's one of the reasons why I try to keep these things short and tight, because I know that attention is very difficult to keep. And right now, in the past, you look at television, you look at radio, old media, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. These different formats were built around an attention span that just simply doesn't exist anymore. Now, if you look at it, the things that work are punchy, they're quick, they come to you, they grab your attention, they deliver a process, they deliver an entertainment value, they deliver a solution, boom, you're done, you're out, on to the next thing. So your brain works in that way, and as we compress our attention in this modern, overstimulated world that we live in, willpower becomes more and more difficult to maintain. So here's the basic premise and what science has found, is you wake up in the morning with a battery of willpower. That willpower is there. It's accessible to you. However, every time you exercise it by making a decision, by denying something that you impulsively want to do because there's a reason why you're not doing it, you're using that energy. You're depleting that battery. So think about this for a second. Think about the things that you did where you had a lapse of willpower that you felt bad about. You felt uncomfortable. You felt embarrassed about. When did those happen? Well, if you ask this question of 1,000 people in a big room, you can pretty much, through a show of hands and people standing up and sitting down, you can pretty much show that most of these things happen after about 5 p.m. Think about that. You wake up early in the morning, you're disciplined, you take your shower, you brush your teeth, you do your morning routine. That's usually pretty easy to stick to because you've got that battery full at that point in the day. But you go through your day, you maybe make a good choice for lunch, even though you wanted a pizza, and you do all these little things. Your willpower levels drop and drop and drop. By the time you come home, the willpower is gone. And that's why the midnight snack, is a classic. That's why people end up drinking too much and regretting it that night. That willpower is depleted. So if willpower doesn't work, and plus, be honest, it's not fun to white knuckle your way through life. And this is really core to both of my major life experiences, both in trading the financial markets, which is really a discipline-based endeavor. You spend your entire life bored as can be, staring at a screen, waiting for someone else to make an error in judgment. There are lots and lots of opportunities that are seductive, that make you want to go out there and play and, and interact. But your discipline is telling you they're not right yet. Those are not the right opportunities. This is one of the hardest things for people when it comes to investing and dealing with their money in the financial markets. Solopreneurship's even worse. It's just you. You're in this room. It's quiet. So now, here's an interesting thing to think about. And I'll add this into the resources below this video on the blog. And you can get to that at ssg.guide/SSG2 for episode 2. All right. There was a study done. This was back when we had before smartphones, so it's even worse now. But you know how in the old days you had Microsoft Outlook, and it would pop up at the bottom of your screen and say, you have a message from Billy Bob or Jimmy Bob or whatever. They discovered that people who had that alert system built into their email and had that turned on, that functionality turned on, experienced similar levels of cognitive diminishment and lack of productivity as somebody who had just smoked a joint. Right? Somebody who was intoxicated. Think about that for a second. If your brain that's being impaired by a chemical is at the same level of functioning as your brain, which is probably hopped up on caffeine, let's be honest, you're in the office, and that's another podcast, by the way, if your brain can't focus when it's overstimulated in too many directions, and you literally have the same cognitive impairment as if you were intoxicated, what does that mean to your productivity? What does that mean to your choices? All right. Now, another thing that's really interesting, and this is another thing that we'll go into deep, is the brain chemistry of stress. I'm about halfway through my little tirade here, so let's keep this clean. Think about what the stress response is designed for. All right. You're in the veldt, and the saber-toothed tiger is chasing you. Your body immediately gets jacked up on adrenaline, norepinephrine, your digestion slows, your cognitive functions drop because your brain is one of the biggest users of glucose, which is essentially the gasoline in your blood. And immediately you get ready to fight like crazy or run like crazy. That's the fight or flight experience. That's that prickle behind your neck. That's that feeling of feeling a little bit clammy. That's that feeling of feeling frantic and boxed in that you might have by yourself sitting behind a computer screen. And that's the cognitive dissonance that we have in our modern world. You can get the same panic response that you should have if there's a physical threat to your well-being, in a natural environment, sitting in front of this computer by yourself with literally just light coming off a screen. All right, so what happens? Well, your body responds the same way. It jacks you up. It gets you ready for athletic endeavor, not for cognitive function and high-level processing and decision-making. In fact, you literally get dumber when you're adrenalized. Your brain begins to shut down. It gets less blood. It gets less glucose because in a fight or flight situation, athletic prowess wins the day, not problem solving and intelligence. All right, so think about that for a little bit. Next time you feel adrenalized, you feel pent up and maybe attacked by something. Maybe it's a mean email or somebody who changes a deadline without notice, right? You feel that adrenalized feeling. Well, now your willpower just drops off a cliff. Okay, so how do we combat this? Well, the first thing you need to think about is re-normalizing your brain chemistry and your body chemistry. So if you're feeling adrenalized, if you're feeling pent up, get up and move. Clear out those stress hormones through physical action. I figure out something that's like a sprint. Get up and do 15 jumping jacks real fast. Run around the block. Run up a flight of stairs. Do some push-ups. Do some pull-ups. Do something for about 30 seconds to a minute that increases your heart rate and clears out those stress hormones. As you come back, you'll find that your mind is much more clear. You have a much higher level of intelligence. You've brought your brain back online, and you'll be in a position then to operate at a much higher level. So there's a very simple body and brain hack that you can do. Again, just get your heart rate up. 30 seconds to a minute usually does it for me. Clears out those stress hormones, and you're ready for the next thing. The second piece is to outsource your willpower to processes and environments. So let's say that you're trying to lose weight and you are very likely to come home and have a lot of sugar and carbs at night, right? You're going to have a snack attack. Well, the simplest way to change your environment is to not have those things in your house. Because if you have a plate of cold pizza sitting in your freezer, you're going to have that handshaking, white knuckling experience of not eating the pizza, not eating the pizza, not eating the pizza. If the pizza isn't there, you don't have to go through that. It reduces your willpower. Another famous example, think of the sort of tech entrepreneurs that have these legends for dressing weird, right? Steve Jobs is a good example. He didn't dress weird because he was trying to put on some kind of a uniform or make a statement. He did that because it was one less decision that he had to make throughout his day. That was one less little exercise of willpower that he needed to figure out, and therefore his battery would be less depleted. Okay, little things like that. So go through your day and actually write down for the next couple of days things that really used up a lot of that willpower, things that you kind of obsessed over, things that you kind of worried about and really just had that white knuckle experience of, okay, this is a bad thing. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Whether it's holding your tongue instead of lashing out at somebody, whether it's some food choice, whether it's some, go to the gym or not, behavioral choice, doesn't matter. Find out, diary where you're using up your willpower battery. Once you've done that, you can begin to focus on those moments in time that are dragging you down. Figure out a way to outsource that. If you, for instance, going to the gym. A lot of people hate going to the gym. I really like it because that's the time when I get to listen to podcasts and get caught up on all of the new ideas and new concepts that come through my headphones while I'm working out. I discipline myself to really only listen to certain podcasts that I enjoy the most when I'm working out. So that makes it rewarding, fun, enjoyable. I look forward to it. It distracts me from the thing that kills me, which is the boredom. I hate more than anything sitting on a treadmill, just doing something, for 20, 30 minutes. It's boring as can be. It kills me. It takes willpower every second to keep going. But if I distract myself away from that willpower process, reward my brain with something that I'm actually going to enjoy, willpower goes away. It's not hard anymore. I actually look forward to it. I jump out of bed, rock out, do my workout, and come back here to get to work energized, full of new ideas, and excited with some of the notes that I took from the ideas that I got to maybe implement those or see if there's a way that I could actually put those into my life to make my life better. Okay, so look at willpower as a finite resource. You have a certain amount. Once it runs out, you're going to be a mess. So figure out ways to outsource your willpower to processes that become habits that are unbreakable because of the clarity that you have around what happens when you break those processes. Outsource to environments. If you're constantly distracted and super ADD, really hone in. Work in a small environment without much in it. I know some people who are extremely ADD in the finance world who literally have nothing in their office, not one single thing. They leave their phone outside and it's just them and their screen, and that helps them process because now they don't have things banging in from the side, coming in to distract them all the time. All right, well, time's up. There you go. So what did we learn today? Finite willpower. It's not anything wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not screwed up. You're not diseased in some weird mental way. You're just simply a normal human being who perhaps has a lifestyle that hasn't been optimized for that willpower battery. So you're sucking your battery down too quick, and therefore you're losing willpower and feeling bad about yourself. Break that loop. Outsource your willpower. Create environments that don't require willpower, and watch your life get that much happier and more disciplined. So if you'd like to learn more about this topic and many others, including how to really master the art of solopreneurship, then just simply go to training.ssg.guide. And for any of the show notes and resources that I've talked about in this podcast, you can also go to ssg.guide/SSG2 for episode 2. All right, everybody, have an awesome week. I'll see you next time.